Welcome back, friends, to another reading for the collective. My name's Ross, and I pop on here every Tuesday and Thursday to offer these readings. And I like to say that my readings aren't prescriptive and it's not fortune telling so much as it is storytelling. So if there is something about your story that you're looking for another perspective on, a different way of looking at things, then I invite you to hold that feeling or thought in your mind or in your body, wherever it feels most alive for you. And we will take 3 deep breaths into that space. And when we exhale, we can make a little sound, a hum, a moan, a groan, whatever it is. Who cares? Let's just make some sound and permit that space to open up so that we can receive what we need to receive there. And so, breathing in and out. 2 more times, breathing in and out. And last time, breathing in and out. All right. I do want to say that when I was doing my morning Reiki, I saw the number 6. So 6 might be relevant. We think about June, we think about 6 days. What is 6 months? Well, this is the end of April, so end of May, end of June, end of July, end of August, end of September, end of October, Halloween. We also have Beltane coming up this weekend. Let's see what you are. Look at you getting out of your head, putting down the swords. Restful nights, good night's sleep. So, 9 of Swords, when it's upright, we can think of this as all the thoughts that are keeping you up at night. And in one of the books, or in somewhere along my tarot learning journey, I've read that this card relates to the thoughts you're having about someone else, the worries that you're having about someone else. But with it being reversed, I'm suggesting that you're done thinking about that. Whether it be a person, a situation, whatever it is, you're not spending time thinking about the things that, I don't want to say don't matter, but the things that aren't serving you, the things that are taking your mind off of your purpose. 333, as I say that. So, with all of this space cleared up, what are you able to focus on? What is on your mind now or on your heart? Because there's a lot of worry here when this card's upright. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of grief. We could even say mourning. Hmm. What else? So we'll say that this is you clearing your mind of all of those thoughts that are no longer serving you. And this is what you're thinking about now. Queen of Wands coming back, as was in a previous reading. Still reversed though. So you're still not believing in yourself. You're still doubting your abilities. This could also be representative of a woman, an elder, a divine feminine representation. And maybe it is just that you don't believe that you are that divine feminine representation. A little personal story. I often thought in my younger and more formative years that just by being a man in a man's body, being a essence in a man's body, that I was doing masculine enough. But I began to dismantle the ways that I was showing up as a masculine presence and realize that it's more than just the plumbing that you have. You know what I'm saying? So with this Queen of Wands reverse coming up, maybe you are a man who is doubting your more intuitive feminine qualities, or maybe you are a feminine who is doubting their ability to tap into their magic. So it's great that you're putting down, letting go all of those thoughts, but this one seems to be the one. And I get it. This is a material world, as Madonna would say, and everything about it suggests that that the material is all that there is. But we are spiritual, you can even say energetic beings. Energetic beings. I'm ready for my coffee. Energetic beings having a material physical experience. And these two came out at the same time. And the message that's coming through, or the way that I want to interpret this, is if you're able to, or once you're able to begin seeing yourself as this Queen of Wands, as this witch, and not in a derogatory term, but in the more, how like there's the wizards and the witches. If you're able to see yourself as that magical creature, that magical conjuring creature, this is what's available to you. The moon in reverse and the Six of Swords upright. So the moon, when we see this upright, we can think about all the things that happen in the dark. We also have a full moon coming up. That might actually be on Beltane, which is quite auspicious. Uh, with it reversed, though, this is suggesting that you are bringing to light those unseen things, the intuitive nudges that stir below the surface. And we talk about how the Queen of Wands could also represent a mentor, someone coming along to offer advice. And then we see the Six of Swords here, and I think that this is that person for you. So, like I said, storytelling, not fortune telling. You're someone who has been up all night thinking about yourself, thinking about other folks, thinking about all the things happening in the world. You're learning to let that go. But something still ain't right. You're still doubting yourself. You're still not believing that you are the magical, wonderful creature that you are. And so, what do we do when we are in those positions? We continue the work, we go deeper, we go into the unknown, into the unconscious. And when we see this card upright, when we see the moon upright, we've got the wolf and the dog, the wildness of nature and the wildness domesticated. But we also have this purple crustacean coming out of the pond here, of the water, the pool of the unconscious. We've got the two towers here, representative or reminiscent of the two towers on the High Priestess, the card of intuition. With this being reversed, though, it does suggest that you are being more active in the excavation of your intuition. With this reversed, we've got the crustacean falling out of the water. So you are doing the work still, but it's less outward focused on other people, other situations, things like that, and more inner focused. which brings us to the Six of Swords. Sure, the pithy way of saying this is a passage by water, and if we're pouring out the pool of the unconscious with the crustacean here at the top, that kind of makes sense thematically. And it may require someone to ferry you across this water. And yeah, you might have still a lot of thoughts about what it means to be an intuitive person, a divine feminine, a divine masculine for that matter, a spiritual person in a world that values the material. And so there could be reluctance to pull up some of these swords because if they did, the boat would fill with water and you would sink. And that's why it's important that this ferryman is here to help you across those waters because once we start the inner excavation, it can be a challenge not to stop. There can be an inclination to keep going and to divorce yourself from the material world entirely. And I am speaking from my own experience here. So that's why it's important to find those mentors, find those guides, find those folks who have walked the path before you so that they can say, you don't need to pull out any of these swords. You can have all of your human thoughts while still being a spiritual person. You can still love your morning lattes and your John Waters movies and all of the things that society has given us without over attaching, over identifying, and making a part of you when they really are 1212, as I'm saying this, when they are just an aspect of you. They're not the full you. Is there any more? What's on the other side? What's on the other side once they get through this journey? What are they finding on the other side? You want to come out. It's whatever you want. Seven of Cups. Whatever you're imagining your life to look like, it is possible. It's just deciding. It's just deciding how you want to bring that into life. I'm reminded of a friend and spiritual sister talking about my personal journey, reflecting to me that in another life I would be a monk outside a monastery with a beggar's bowl, and confirmation burp on that. Excuse me. And that's the trajectory, we could say, that I was building for a long time, consciously and unconsciously. I was devoting all of my thoughts, all of my energy, all of my emotions to one singular goal here, one of these cups. But now, as I've matured and am maturing, I'm realizing that if I want to be of service here in this material world, then there are other cups I need to focus on. There are other imaginings I need to put energy toward. And that's kind of what this is calling. And it's important, and you're probably already starting to see that with all of the mental space cleared up from the beginning. There may be that additional space to see, oh, here was something that I put down for a while because I thought it was out of reach. And now I have space to pick that up again because I'm not worried about such and such or so and so. And maybe we can think about on the ride these two are talking about all of these things. And it is important here to point out that there is a child here. I often kind of equate this to inner child work, which is obviously a big part of the work. But it could also just be that sense of community, of building something that you know you're not going to see the benefits of, but generations to come will. So bring it on home, Hafiz. Tell us something we missed. Tell us what we need to know, what it is for the folks today. I learned a new shuffling technique. Unleash your passion. 37 reduces to 10. Ha! Unleash your passions. The wolf's beautiful howl so unleashed my passions, my lover smiled for days. Seek your muse, court her. When she visits, create with wild abandon. Let nothing hold back your whimsy, your folly, your bliss. Allowing your passion to grow, be nurtured, and expressed is one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself and the world. Don't let modesty or fear repress your inspiration. You have galaxies inside you. Express them. And it's important to note here with this kind of idea of creativity, of freeing your mind, of your intuitive work, of unleashing your passions, that we are entering Taurus season, and that is apparently all about creativity. It's also about the material in the sense of wealth and also the world that we live in. But that feels relevant to share as well, and quite auspicious with everything else that came up today. And so I think we will leave it there for today. I just want to thank you for tuning in. As always, I post these every Tuesday and Thursday, and I enjoy doing these. I don't foresee a time stopping. I might do a special reading for Beltane or the full moon, whenever that is. We'll see. Might be both. So it might be auspicious to do that kind of reading. But until next time, my friends, I wish you nothing but peace, love, and happiness from this day forward. Like this, if it resonated, share it with someone who you think might need it. Leave a comment below about how you're going to be unleashing your passions. Until next time, I just wish you well. Take care.